This past January, I came really close to being on the Dr. Phil show. I had released my trailer for this documentary series I'm making, and within a few days, it caught the attention of one of the producers of the Dr. Phil show. They contacted me about doing an episode about the documentary and about the subject of the documentary, a guy named Matthew Berdyck. After a week of going back and forth, I got a call on Friday, January 10th from the executive producer named Patrick, who said he was about to reach out to their stalker and try to convince him to do the show. He called me back about an hour and a half later, and he said that it turns out Berdyck had been trying to get on the show since 2015. The next few weeks were a big back and forth. At one point, they canceled the episode because the lawyer stepped in and said he had threatened to do something to me on the show. And so the lawyer said they're not going to risk it putting us in a room together if they didn't know what he was going to do. Eventually, it was on and off again a few more times, and then they asked me to do an audition video specifically for Dr. Phil McGraw himself. On Tuesday, January 21st, I got a random phone call from a young woman in New York. She had just been harassed by Matthew Berdyck the night before and that same day. At the same time that Matthew Berdyck is trying to convince the producers of the Dr. Phil show that he's an innocent victim, this poor girl is being harassed by him. And it turns out that she confessed to me that she had just been the victim of a sexual assault 7 weeks prior with someone she had a restraining order against. She started to ask me, how long you've been dealing with him? 7.5 years. Are the police able to do anything? Not really. Is Facebook gonna get rid of his account? No, not ever. And it was just heartbreaking. This poor girl needed solace, and there was nothing I could say to her because I wasn't going to lie to her. And it was just a really horrible day, and nothing compared to the day this poor girl had. And later that day at about 6 p.m., I got a call from that executive producer, Patrick, to tell me the episode was back on. So originally I was going to be flown out on Friday, January 24th, my birthday, at 7:09 a.m. They canceled my flight at 2 a.m., saying that an unforeseen legal issue had come up with the episode. The episode wasn't fully canceled. They were going to make that determination later on Friday. That was my birthday. Waiting all day to find out yet again, are we doing the episode or are we not doing the episode? Throughout the rest of that day, they requested a lot of specific information around Jane Hitchcock and Diane Diamond, and they wanted police report, court records, anything I had that was more official, that they could convince the lawyers and the other producers of the show to move forward. So I found out about 6:30 p.m. on Friday, January 24th, that the episode is officially back on, and I was going to get another flight the next morning at 7 a.m. I got my confirmation at about 10:30 p.m. the night before a 7 a.m. flight that I was going to be on. And in this time, I got a call at 5:30 a.m. confirming I was on my way to the airport. I was picked up by a personal car and a valet. I was taken to this high-end dentist in Beverly Hills who proceeded to, fix my teeth, all paid for by the Dr. Phil show. The thing about that is, I had Austin Powers teeth my whole life. And I've hidden it. Like, whenever I'd smile, I'd put my hand in front of my face to hide it. And after only 45 minutes, this magician did wonders with my teeth. And now, for the first time in almost 50 years on this earth, I'm not ashamed of my smile. From the dentist, they took me straight to the studio for my pre-interview, which is where they do kind of they do little interviews and sound bites that they put on the episode before you get on stage with Dr. Phil. They shot my B-roll. While I'm sitting there after the makeup chair, there was a little bit of time, and I had my laptop, and I was checking in with some of my friends, and I wasn't just there for me. I wasn't just there representing myself. I was there for all these people, and I was wondering, am I worthy of that? Am I worthy of all this treatment of being put up in a nice hotel? They put me up at this Hilton over at the Universal Studios. They, a nice suite with, money for food every day, and they were treating me like a star. Right as I was finishing up, I met one of the other victims, Jane Hitchcock, who she's a cyber harassment expert, nationally known We've been talking about this same guy for about 7 years, and we had never met. Well, we've talked on the phone, we've done email, and it was a real cathartic, amazing moment that for about 2 minutes we said hello, hugged, and right, near the Hollywood sign, do I deserve any of this? And I was starting to come to a realization that maybe I do. Maybe for the first time in my life, I'm working on a project that isn't about me, that isn't about my ego. It's telling a story about other people. It was about something bigger than me. That I felt like, I'm not even the bus driver. I'm just somebody on the bus seeing it through. So at the end of this day, I had a fantastic day shooting footage in LA, in Hollywood, talking to the segment director. During breaks, we showed the whole crew the trailer to the documentary. Then some of them would show me their stuff on YouTube. Like the segment director had worked on a documentary. We watched his trailer. We traded some war stories about making documentaries. Woke up the next morning to a phone call from that executive producer, Patrick. He said the episode is officially and finally canceled. He said there were a lot of issues that Mr. Berdyck was having on the set. He apparently had problems at the same dentist I had gone to. He had a problem with all the drivers. At one point, somebody had apparently dumped him off on the side of the street, according to them. They said that he had really insulted the hair and makeup people. He insulted the director. He had all kinds of problems, and this is all according to them. I didn't witness any of that, but that's what they said. And so these people all went directly to Dr. Phil, who said, "Nobody who treats my staff that way gets on television." That's the exact quote that was given to me. It was separately given to Jane. It was separately given to Diane Diamond. We all heard the same story. I basically had this as a free vacation. Jane and I went to Disneyland together. I got to see the new Galaxy's Edge Star Wars park. And, the first movie I ever saw in a movie theater was Star Wars in 1977 when I was 5 years old. I have this tradition that every time I'm in Los Angeles, I put my feet in the Pacific Ocean. And I almost always do it at Santa Monica Pier, and I got to do that again this time. Every day I had breakfast, lunch, and dinner with a different friend that I know that lives in Los Angeles that I never get to see anymore, and the whole thing was this incredible experience. Even though we never got to do the actual episode, I never met Dr. Phil himself, this whole experience was an enormous validation for what I'm doing with this documentary series. The fact that they spent clearly tens of thousands of dollars because they thought this story was of a national interest, and it's done nothing but made me proud of what me and my team have been doing with this documentary. I cannot wait to show it to everybody. I'm working on it right now, and I just wanted to give this little update on what happened, because a lot of my friends were curious why I was so emotional and why I was so happy at that time. And now that it's completely and officially no more NDAs, nothing going on, there's never going to be an episode on Dr. Phil of this, I just wanted to give everybody the update. Dude,